Welcome to Metaphysical Money. We are here today with Lorna Stell. She is one of our guest contributors to this quarter's Quantum Business Design Fall Almanac, which is a magazine style article where we do some forecasting. We kind of let you embrace the energy of what's upcoming. And then all of our contributors kind of come in with their expertise in their modalities and kind of help you with some supportive measures of how you deal with the chaos that is currently going on in our lives. We are currently recording this during Mercury retrograde. So if the fan gets hit, that's why. A new moon. Yeah, so it's just a great energy to be kind of in today. But I am so excited to talk to Lorna today because she wrote an absolutely fantastic article. And then she has some really, really fun, juicy things that she's offered for us today. So I'm going to let you also introduce yourself because there are things that I probably didn't say that you really need to highlight.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. So I'm Lorna, and I like to call myself an inner voice facilitator. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it is a pretty niche modality. So inner voice is what we all have, our inner wisdom in our bodies, our inner source of wisdom, knowing, unconditional love. And I like to access that through the body. So I also like to say that I'm a somatic meditation facilitator. So the inner voice meditation modality is my jam. It's been something I'm very dedicated to for many years now. And yeah, always going deeper in my own practice and love teaching clients how to do this for themselves so they can get unstuck on some of the stickiest things in life and just apply this modality to, yeah, really any area of life. I love that. There's nothing it doesn't help clarify, transform, transmute, heal, all of that.
Yes, I love transmuting and just kind of like that. Um, on your website, you use the word alchemize. So, like, that's one of my favorite things that has really, really helped me as I have journeyed through the depths of the soul. So do you want to talk a little bit more about transmutation? Because some people might not know what the heck that even means. It sounds very witchy, which I'm,
Yeah, of course.
but
I'm in full support of the witches. Yeah, what the thought that just popped in my head as you were talking about like alchemizing, transmuting is it really feels like fertilizer.
Mhm.
Um, and I love framing it that way. That's a very like kind of inner voice perspective on it. Um, and it feels important because we could take, we could look at these areas of our lives where we feel sticky. Things do not feel easy. It feels like there's resistance or just generally like, I don't like this. Why is this here?
Mhm.
Let's fix it.
Mhm.
And it can be easy to kind of resent, uh, whether it's like money, health, relationships, home, like any area of life where you're feeling like things are not easy peasy.
Mhm.
And what I love about exploring our resistances, or anything we want to transmute or alchemize is there's always some wisdom in there. Whenever you just get curious about what feels resistant or sticky, it's always pointing the way towards where the real truth is for you. Whatever there is something new to see, some new wisdom to be had there as you essentially like go to embody the next level of yourself, the next new layer of yourself. We're always growing and changing and unfolding. Um, so really like transmutation or alchemizing, I feel like there are, of course, different ways to approach that. The way that I like to do it is by addressing sensations in the body and also beliefs in the mind. So we can, this is what I guide my clients to do. We relax the whole body and then just notice like, are there any sensations or emotions coming up that are just like, hello, please pay attention to me. And when those come to the forefront, we can feel them, process them, even if it's like, ugh, I really don't want to feel this right now. Again, it's there because it has wisdom for you. And it's probably not going to make sense before you go through the process. Like
Right.
you have that aha, like, oh my God, in hindsight. So that's really all the transmutation is to me. It's really just being really fully present with your whole experience without judgment as much as you can.
Yeah. So the fertilizer type example. And also I use like making like veggie stock or like chicken stock um as like the another analogy that I was using heavily. I think it was like May and June of this year, because it was very much that energetic signature of like you're going to take all of the crap that you're going through right now and we're going to apply some heat and we're going to apply just a long slow process to like sit with it, and it's going to turn into gold, whether or not it's fertilizer gold or like that stock pot, like bone broth, kind of gold.
Yeah,
And so yeah, that was very very much like that energy, which brings me to the other point that I was going to mention, which is when I was writing the Q4 Quantum Business Almanac, I used the word rebuilding, and we all kind of wrote on the concept of like from September, or no, October, November, December, because those are the 3 months of the quarter. Um, what is kind of that energy that's kind of like attached to everything. And I said that it was all about rebuilding. Like we had gone through the stock pot of summer and the heat and the pressure, and we were, we'd cleared out everything that wasn't ours anymore. And we were really, really rebuilding upon that foundation. But the word that I should have used is recreate, because as we are like deep, like right in the middle of that energy now, it is really this feminine energy of like embracing that slowness, embracing the comfort, and like really growing from that inside space out. And that's all very feminine and creative. And I was talking about this with Kyle, who was one of our last guests, of like that's that divine feminine. And so it's really cool to see that come in so potently right now, because we need so much femininity right now. I'm embracing it more than I think I ever have, which is very not normal for me. Um,
same.
like normally I'm the tomboy. So like I have my nails done. Like I don't know how many other videos on my Substack I actually have my nails done. Granted, I'm not going to tell you like the extent that I went through for these nails because you would probably laugh. But having nails done is a huge thing for me, and like like moisturizing my face every day and like taking care of myself in those small micro doses and basically micro dosing my femininity.
Mhm. I love that. Yeah, this season feels very tender for me. And tenderness is like, ew, vulnerable, don't want to go there. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're in a similar place where I feel like if you baby step into it, ease into it, you start to really find the juice and the magic in there. Yeah, and like, talking about the like the stock, the veggie broth, it's like, well, yeah, you're pulling out more nutrients. You're like literally creating a healing sauce, healing juice for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we really do need like balance in all parts, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And rhythm. One of the other things that really came through a lot, like over this past year, is that it's not just balance. Because if you think about like riding a bike and you sit on that bike, you can be 100% balanced and you're still going to fall over. It's not until you have forward motion
Mm-hmm.
that balance actually comes into play. And so then it becomes rhythm. And so, like, it, it's looking at, and because today's a new moon, I'm totally going to bring this up. It's all about those different cycles. Like you think about the moon cycle, like you have the new moon, full moon, but you also then have the tides that are affected, whether or not it's high tide or low tide, whether or not, like there's like a cycle upon cycle upon cycle. And like, how do those cycles apply to your life? And where are you within those cycles? Because you can be at vastly different points in those cycles, like whether or not the moon is super close or, really far out. My son does astrophotography. And so he's always telling me like about the like physical attributes of like what's going on with like the astrology and the transits and stuff. And it's a really kind of fun dynamic because most astronomers completely, they're like astrology is not a thing, but like being able to I like actually kind of like tie that together as he's photographing things that I'm talking about is really, really cool.
So amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the science and the magic.
Oh, it is. And I love that there's a lot more like a science supporting the magic now. Like the
Yeah.
avenues that we're going down in like quantum physics and like I'm like I have so many substacks that I am subscribed to that are just like oh I'm so
Yeah.
figured that out. It's so much fun. So
Yes. Hmm.
okay, you have a meditation that you wanted to mention.
Yeah. Well, so for anyone who's like hearing about this like inner voice thing, they're like, what? I don't blame you. Um, I will say too, like it's one of those things where there's many names for the same thing. So if you like to think about your higher self or a guide that you work with a lot, anything like that, like it might feel like the same thing to you. So if you're looking for a way to connect with that within yourself, in about 15 minutes, I have a little free meditation people can do. That's on my website. Just put in your email, it'll be sent to you.
Awesome.
And it does guide you through body relaxation, processing some of those emotions or body sensations that may or may not arise. And that I find doing that allows you to have a clearer connection with your inner wisdom, which we can also sort of access through the body. I always feel it kind of in my sacral center. It might be somewhere else for you. So finding where that is and then kind of opening up a little bit of a dialogue with that part of yourself. That's all things we do in the meditation. So it's a nice little reset. And I've also heard people say that they have a unique experience with it every time, or they like to start their day with it. Or I had a client who was um, going through a really stressful PhD program, and she would wake up at like 2 or 3 a.m. and she said, "Yeah, I would just turn on this meditation. It would really help me." So
Awesome.
I love that as a tool for people.
Yeah, those guided meditations were really, really helpful for me, like very, very beginning when I was like I don't even know how to meditate. My brain is just noisy, you know.
Exactly.
And even now my brain gets noisy, like meditation, just because people have been meditating for years doesn't mean that our brains aren't noisy and we're thinking about like all of our stress too. Um,
Hmm.
so there is that. Are you a generator? Do you know what your human design is?
I am a generator. Yeah.
I was wondering when you said in my sacral center, and I was like,
Yeah.
sounds very familiar.
Hmm.
I'm also a generator. The link for the meditation will be in the show notes down below. If you're like, what link? Where is this? It's in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it will probably be linked to my Substack, and then it's over on my Substack. You can find it by searching Metaphysical Money on Substack. Just in case you're lost as to where the heck we are, we might not know where we are either. I was gonna also like my brain explode is doing like these little explosions while you talk, and I'm having a really hard time with my neuro spiciness to like not interrupt, but it's a good
I
practice.
understand.
Um, so when you were talking about like that inner voice, so there was a book that I read as part of a book club earlier this year, called Untethered Soul by Michael Singer.
I'm
Um,
reading it right now.
well, I won't give you my opinion on it then because they might be a spoiler alert, but
Oh.
it was really interesting when you were talking about like those different levels of consciousness and in the very, very beginning, because I love reading books and resources that help me understand and access not only the different ways that I'm talking to myself, but more of that clarity on that inner voice of like, is this something that I have been telling myself for years? Or is this something my mom was telling me? Or is this something my dad was telling me? Or my teachers or society or the patriarchy? Or like, what is my actual inner voice? And I've had some really
Hmm.
cool experiences with that since I read that book. But since you are mid reading, I won't do any spoilers. I will say go read it. I am only going to give it like a 5 out of 10. I recommend everybody read it, but I have not come to terms with a certain aspect of that book yet, and I did not finish it because I kind of like I had to like throw it in the garbage and then retrieve it again because
Mm.
there's some
Yeah.
there's some reconciliation in my soul that also needs to happen. in that. And there was like another thing that I was going to talk about. Oh, oh, so you were saying that for your meditations and with your clients, you have them kind of like sit still and figure out like what is the stillness that comes up. And um I think in my trauma and as I was working through all of those processes with myself, sitting still was the enemy.
Hmm.
And I've talked about this in multiple different articles, all the different areas. You can find my soapbox speech everywhere about how time and space was really, really important to me in unlocking a lot of my money issues. Like um, the thing that I always saw that rich people had that I didn't have was time and space.
Hmm.
So while I was living in survival mode and I was like living in that lower vibration, I didn't have the time to sit still. Like I didn't feel productive if I was moving forward. And so for me, EFT tapping was really, really good for me because it had the same effect as that sitting in silence, where I could be tapping through. And in the emotional and energetic outburst of that tapping session, those inner voice things would come to the surface,
Hmm.
especially as a sacral person, because if you have a human design focused EFT practitioner, sacral people are only supposed to do EFT with yes no questions, and then
Mm.
if you're a manifesting generator, you can do yes no answers, but otherwise you're really supposed to answer with those same kind of sounds as you use when you're eating good food versus bad food.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then we don't let you answer with your head, because a lot of times if you're using a non-human design based EFT practitioner, they're letting you answer with your head, but 70% of the population is sacral based.
Yeah.
So you're really answering outside of where your intuition lies. And so, yeah, those were just kind of like some of my notes. But now I could probably get to the point where I could sit in silence and actually like listen to my inner child. But I had to really train myself and kind of come out of that traumatic, scarce, low vibrational state to even get to that point of like, who even is my inner voice? Um,
Yes. Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
I have other,
Well,
I can keep going, but if you,
I
we
want
give
to, I would
space.
love to respond to some of that. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I want to validate anybody who's feeling, yes, because that all makes so much sense. Like we're living in a capitalist society. A lot of us are trading our time for money, and that's how we survive. And so I just want to validate that's normal. And you're not crazy. And yeah, I'll say for myself too, like when I was earlier on in my practice, and this still happens now, but um, a way that I really enjoyed connecting with my inner voice, which would like it would calm down my mind and then just like whatever I needed to know would come through. That would happen for me a lot during gentle yoga at home. Probably it wouldn't happen in classes, but at home, going at my own pace, I loved that. And then I have a client too with I forget if it's ADD, ADHD. She really likes. I always forget if it's Qigong or Qigong. Um,
Ask Kyle. She knows. I think
yeah.
I think it's no, I'm not even gonna try. No, I'm gonna get it wrong.
I want to say it's Qigong, but like someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But essentially like moving meditation. So I love that. That said, even that person can go through sessions with me in stillness and get something out of it. It's when they're like doing it on their own, the movement really helps. So I would just say like it's all an experiment. Like really get to know your body and your nervous system. It could be, it feels uncomfortable at first to be in stillness because it's so unfamiliar. But if you have someone holding your hand, literally walking you through it, you might find it's like, oh, it's exactly what I need. So I would just see it as an experiment. We all get to like explore. EFT, I hate it. Doesn't I want to love it so bad and I don't like it. So it just depends on the person.
Have you done design based EFT?
What's that?
You ever done the human design based EFT?
I have not, but I don't like the sensations of the tapping. So
Oh.
that's maybe my flavor of neurospicy. So it doesn't matter the question. But the meditation and the questions works for me. So
I was also gonna ask if you had a defined route,
no, I do not.
because I was wondering, I was like, so this is where my brain goes all the time, like
Yeah.
we're talking. And I will lead into my next point with this. So a lot of times I'm like, oh, because I do pattern recognition. Like that's why we have a Substack. Okay. That's my version of neurospicy. Um, so I was wondering if people who have defined roots tend to have a better grasp on that concept of stillness and are able to have that defined energetic center of the defined stillness. And so I was wondering if that might have something to do with it. But then you didn't have a defined root. And so that's probably not.
Sorry.
We'll explore more.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that I was thinking of is you had mentioned earlier, like you might connect to your higher self or you might connect to guides. And Christina Sutter, who has also been on the Substack, it was probably like 6 months ago. So if you want to go find her interview, it's in there. Her and I have this interesting kind of concept of thought behind what type of religion you may have been raised in and how
Mm,
connect whether or not you're connecting to your higher self or whether you're connecting to guides
mm,
based upon what religion you were brought in and whether or not you had intercessors between you and God in that religion or not, or whether you could just access God.
mm. Yeah.
Interesting concept and conversation that we've kind of been having in the background of,
Yeah.
like what's going on. Because so like when for me, when people are like, oh, well, like, yeah, I've connected with your guides, and I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. Like, I am the guide, okay? Like, not to be conceited, but
What's so funny is I really relate to that. Like I don't do a lot with the concept of guides personally. Like I would have the same reaction if someone said that to me. I'd be like, all right, they haven't told me. But I was raised evangelical Christian. It was like my whole life for a long time. And yeah, and I've talked to people who were raised Catholic and it was like, oh no, like Jesus is the last guy that you talk to. And I'm like, oh, that he was supposed to be the first guy that I talked to. So it's really interesting. Yeah, so like but like I was never in this whole thing of like confession and priest and all that stuff. I was like, no, like so the concept of intercessor is very kind of strange to me. I'm like, why? Why? But when I talk to my inner voice, it feels like it does really feel like talking to God, if I'm being honest. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's that. Well, we're back to that Michael Singer book again.
Yeah. I will say too, for him, I read The Surrender Experiment first. I don't know if you've read that. I really enjoyed that because the whole thing is just a story,
Mhm.
rather than here's what you do and instructions.
Maybe I should start recommending that book first because I did have a client read Untethered Soul like right away, and he's like, I absolutely hate this book. I
That's,
don't, I don't
yeah.
connect with this at all. I was like, well, you don't have to finish it if you're not like connecting with it. I was like, sometimes things are brought to us when we're not ready, and then they come back around, and we're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. It makes sense to me because he wrote them in that order. The Surrender Experiment was like, here's what I lived, and then the Untethered Soul is like, here's how I did it if you want to like see the process. So I had another client who did the same thing, tried to read the Untethered Soul and like threw it across the room. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
yep, yeah, I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay. So the other thing that you had mentioned, and I think that is where I found my alchemization, is you have a vitality activation. So do you want to tell us about that as well?
Yeah, so these are, I call them vitality activation sessions. These are the one-on-one sessions that I do with people when they want to get to know their inner voice. It could be for the first time, or it could be, I have my practice already, but this particular question or topic is feeling really sticky and just like need another person to help me go deeper on this, and process some stuff. So those sessions are, if you're in the Salem, Massachusetts area, we can do in person, but typically these are virtual over Zoom, one-on-one sessions, although I've done a couple sessions before as well. And yeah, 90 minutes long. We go in and like I said, we relax the whole body. We get to know your thinking mind a little bit. Thinking mind and inner voice are like, it's really hard to talk about one without the other. And we get to know both, and then we really get clear on where's your inner voice in your body. And as a facilitator, what I'm doing is kind of playing the role of your mind and asking your inner voice questions, and you are channeling whatever that answer is. You're telling me, like, if you're seeing images, or if a song pops in your head, or if it's actual words or sense of knowing that you're receiving about something. I will say it sounds very like mystical, but it's really the most pedestrian thing, which is why I love it. It's really not no real gatekeeping with it in terms of you don't have to be a special person, you don't have to be a medium, you don't have to be like a fifth generation anything. Any random person could do this, even if you feel like you are not very intuitive. I love working with those people, so that's what we do. Yeah.
I love that, and I might have to come experience it mostly because I am relatively close. Um, Mostly because so for me, I approach everything from a very logical and analytical perspective, and so what I do is actually very similar, but it's all based upon like the human design clues. And so we achieve vitality through 9 different resiliency keys, and I will put them in the show notes because I will miss. I'm not. I haven't done it for a little bit, so I might not. But it's basically like joy, self trust, self worth, um, decision making or like decisiveness,
Mm-hmm.
um, emotional wisdom, um, and then lovability. I think that we're close to 9. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
put it in there. So like we get to the same point, like figuring out whether you're resistant to any of those different 9 areas. And then we find your inner voice through human design of like
Mm-hmm.
who your inner voice is. And so it'd be really interesting to like just experience it on more of that like mystical realm because as a person who comes to things from a very like logical analytical like I'm like oh well like here's the proof behind the pudding you know um,
Yeah.
but on the other side of what I do, like with the channel business messages, like there's no proof behind the pudding. Like
Yeah.
anybody, like I have had some chargebacks on those, not because I did a bad job with them, but because like they didn't recognize my business name on their credit card thing. But every time those chargebacks came through, I was like, oh my gosh, did it not resonate? What went wrong? Like, how did I prove that this is like, what do you mean it's fraud?
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, I mean, I can't prove that that's what it was, but so like being able to have that other mystical side as well of like, like I can't prove that, but it resonates so much. And there was a project that I was working on the other day and I was looking for like testimonials and reviews and stuff. And so I have a bunch of screenshotted like testimonials, but 90% of them are from the channel business messages. Like it is my most popular reviewed product. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not at all my normal base of like science and logic and like integration and implementation and like that very 3D world. It's very mystical and so it's super fun. So I would love to come and I will take you up on that offer. The
Hey.
the link below, which you can also get virtually if you can't go see her in person. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'll say too, for anybody who wants to book those through watching this, if you mention April, mention this video, the Substack, happy to give you a bonus session. So what I do with new clients is I like to start people with a bundle of sessions. So 3 sessions. They can be 3 in 1 week or, three, one a week over 3 weeks if you want to do it that way. I just find it really helps you to, again, just sort of like reorient to your body in a new way and really practice getting to know your inner voice and finding that in your body. So I like to give a bonus session for special people sometimes.
I love that you have that set up that way. And as since my Substack is all about like business advice and like logical solutions, I have seen quite a few people doing these package sessions. And I will say, as a
Mm,
person, one-off sessions, I am totally switching to the package of sessions model because for the clients who have come to me and done like a one-off EFT, like money type session, they just don't get the same results as if they come to me weekly or if they come to me for like 3 or 4 sessions
Yeah.
because we're working through multiple things. So, if you are doing one-off sessions, please take Lorna's advice and do a bundle, please. So, she's just so smart. The other thing I wanted to see if you wanted to touch on was because you were a contributor for the Almanac, do you want to talk about your article so that we can entice people to come read it?
Yeah, yeah, actually that's really great because what I talk about in there is essentially my way of approaching manifestation. And if you're in the world of spirituality at all, I'm sure you've seen manifestation advice on the internet or on TikTok somewhere. And it's really interesting just the different ways people approach it. And I guess on the topic of human design, I'm a non-specific manifester. And so I talk in the article about essentially like how I didn't mention the human design, but my way of approaching it is essentially just getting really clear on what do I want in terms of how do I want to feel. Um, and then bringing in the inner voice practice with that. So kind of merging really just like an emotional practice of like, how can I give myself now the feelings that I want to feel with whatever I'm trying to create? And how can I, unravel the like knotted up parts with this inner voice practice and like asking a million and one questions about it. So my article in there talks about how I manifested a job. And that's a huge deal for me because I had so many stories, so much history about how manifesting a job is really hard, like landing a job is hard, having a job when you get it sucks, like just all these really negative things. And my life just around all of that was really not feeling very good. So I was able to go from like, this feels awful, I hate it, to like all my dreams are coming true. And
Awesome.
yeah, and doing that with the emotions and with the inner voice practice. And there's a step by step in there. If you want to try it for yourself, let me know how it goes.
Awesome. Um,
Hmm.
okay. You also do photography. Do you want to talk about your photography? I
I
know
do.
it's not anywhere in our stuff, but
Well, it is in there actually because my photos are in the article, and that does tie into all of this too. So, photography is the first business that I started. So I've got that, and then I've got the meditation business. And what I started to do, what started to happen as I like kept going deeper with my inner voice was it became really clear that these two are supposed to merge in some way. And I was like, how is this going to work? Clearly one of those things where my thinking mind could not have conceived of this. So I started creating what I'm calling the becoming sessions. And I beta tested this with some people. It was just like jaw-dropping how transformative it was for people. Each person had a unique, really gorgeous experience. And so what we're doing is it's kind of like, I like to frame it as a multi-day retreat type experience. So session one is we do this inner voice meditation together, like a vitality activation session. And we go through that process and design the photo session through that. So instead of coming to a photo session, like a portrait session basically, with how do I look good? How do I look skinny? Like how do I do all the things that I think I'm supposed to look like in my photos? Um, and really coming to it from the most embodied place possible. Because what I do see with a lot of people is a camera comes out or like your phone selfie camera comes out and you leave your body. Like you just put on this performative thing. And not that you can't take good photos that way, but wouldn't it be lovely to like really feel present and like feel just good and really aligned in yourself? And allow yourself to be documented in that way. A lot of us have resistance to seeing images of ourselves, which is so interesting. As business owners, I feel like this is huge to work through. Um, so yeah, we start with the meditation session, then we have a portrait session day, and then we do another session where we come back on Zoom and we meditate again a little bit for a few minutes, and then we look at the photos together. So you get to see yourself from that inner voice perspective. And your inner voice loves you unconditionally, so it's going to be really gorgeous. So if you're working through anything like body image or being seen or expressing yourself in a new way, it's really powerful for accessing your fully expressed self. And yeah, and we always do them outside in nature as well. So like really getting into presence and peace and joy or processing through your rage, whatever you need to do. Honoring all of it.
That is really honestly so. I mean, I have looked for like embodiment photographers before, especially as a mom of kids who,
Yeah.
was living on cortisol.
Yeah.
Like I have not been nice to my body for many, many years. And like I'm really starting to embrace it more. But I have literally been looking for something like that in a photography session. So if you're within traveling distance to Salem, Massachusetts, that's where you are. Do you travel for those or would you travel for those for the right price?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, really anybody around New England, honestly. Like, yeah, I would totally travel.
If you're interested in that, that sounds like really fantastic. So I hate to say that I'm going to do this, but so recently there was a gala event for Boston businesswomen who I
Hmm.
really love. It's like one of my favorite communities. I'm in the Legacy League and all those fun places. So there was a silver soiree recently, and it was a content party, which is very much exactly what you're talking about. Like, let's pose and make sure
Yeah.
we're really beautiful for all of our social medias, which I struggle with social media just because like I'm not here to get judged, but I hear that's how you really make it become famous is be judged. Um, but in that, like I just had the time of my life. Like I was just out there to like dance and have fun. And in one of the shots, I ended up doing the splits because that's just my personality. Like I am wild and audacious and very much an Aries. And yes, it was photographed. So I will put that picture down below and because
Celebrate it.
celebrate it. Like I just turned 40 this year. I have never been able to do the splits in my life. Like this is a new skill for me because I started doing taekwondo at 39 with my middle child. And so, like 2 to 3 times a week, we're stretching and doing all kinds of fun stuff. I can't do taekwondo splits yet. Like it's not like this splits. It's like, like front back splits.
Mm,
Like just being able to like go and be in my body and move in my body has been absolutely fantastic. So I am so glad you offer that and so glad that it ties to your article and that we were able to bring that all up today. So
yeah.
I will drop all of these links below, and you can feel free to mention them if you want on video. But you can find Lorna on Facebook and Instagram and her website. Do you want to mention them, or do you just want to have me drop the links below?
You can drop the links. I'll say Facebook, I share the most kind of like long form things. So if you enjoy that. Instagram, I'm mostly in stories, so you can find me there. Yeah, website, obviously you'll see all the like sort of evergreen stuff, offers that are always there for you. So yeah, I feel like Instagram stories and Facebook. Yeah.
Awesome. That is fantastic. And I will also drop the link for the Quantum Business Almanac below if in case you're interested in reading that article as well. Thank you so much for coming on today. It was an absolutely amazing conversation. I am sure that we could chat for hours.
Yes. Thank you so much. I love this.
Thank you.